This is Shane from Herky. I'm just doing a little bit of a follow-up to last year's tour video that I made for our boat sale. The boat is currently listed with the Yazoo with Bob Hoffer, and we are still pursuing selling the boat. Over the last year, we ended up staying in Urbana, and the reason the boat's listed and we stayed in Urbana is unfortunately the Admiral Merrily was diagnosed with cancer last year. She is just about done with it all. She's been through all of her treatments. She's had surgery. She is in recovery right now, mainly from the side effects of the treatments, but she is way better. She's not out of the woods 100%, but we know where the tunnel ends and we've seen the light. So we're doing great. But the boat is still for sale. We don't know what we're going to do next in life. We've got many options ahead of us, including another boat, possibly a motor coach, possibly going overseas for a couple of years to see family. But these are all just options for us. But in that time, I've done a lot of changes to the boat. I'm not one to sit still or I get bored, so I start projecting on the boat. And one of the projects that I'm most proud of that we did over this last year is we converted the boat from a single Quattro 5000 12 volt that was single phase to a split phase setup. I sold the Quattro, took the proceeds from the Quattro, bought two multi plus two 12 3000s that are 120 volt each. And I also bought a auto transformer 100 amp that all AC power does flow through in the end. And so I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what we have done over the last year. And that includes adding these. I've done some other upgrades. I added some better power generation from our Honda generator that we use. We mainly use the Honda for days when it's been cloudy for 4 or 5 days, down in the Bahamas the winter day kind of thing, or we get a bunch of rain. So that's really what our Honda is used for, because our solar generation, it almost covers everything as long as it's a good day. As long as it's a sunny day, we're good. We charge to 100%. We live our day. We don't need the Honda. But I would say we probably use the Honda generator, give or take, every couple weeks. We might use it for 4 hours, which is a tank of fuel. And I like to always fill it plumb full, run it to 0. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what we have done. Okay, here are the two new inverters. They are multi plus 2s, like I said. They are 12/3000, which 3000 is VA. They are 2400 watts approximately coming into each one. The power comes in through this little white box right here. The breaker is actually in the engine compartment, in the starboard engine compartment, but power comes into these one. So you get your split phase. This one is L1, L2. But then they come out of there and we come behind the wall, and there is the auto transformer, which feeds, both of them feed into it. And then that feeds all of our panels. We have two 120 volt panels upstairs. One is technically L1 and the other one is L2. They both are fed from here. And then also right here, I have a 240 volt panel, and that feeds the hot water heater and one of our two air conditioners. And it is also set up to feed our galley if we wanted to switch to a dual burner induction cooktop from the single burner induction cooktop. I just need to run the wire and put the plug in for that. And then the batteries are actually on the other side of the boat and not on this side. So I'm going to climb up on the bed here. And then, so in the back for power generation, you have 4 MPPTs from Victron. Let's see if I can get down a little lower there. Yep. You have a 285 volt. You have 150, another 150, and then a 100. The 285 is our solar arch, and that has 3 370 watt panels on it. This one here, 150, is our salon roof, which is 2 370 watt panels in parallel. And this one is the Bimini roof, same. And then the little one has 3 Bouge RV 100 watt panels that surround the fixed panels on the salon roof. All in on a great summer day like about right now, we're looking at making probably 15 kilowatts. Marilyn and I, if we're not running the air conditioners, we need about 10. 10 to 12 kilowatts a day, kilowatt hours a day to live. Also, that is the hot water heater, which is now running on 240 volt instead of 110 there. And then I was saying I had added some extra Honda power. These right here are Victron's IP22 30 amp chargers. And what they do is they are connected to a 30 amp shore power port right next to the main 50 amp, and it's single phase. The Honda plugs into it. So I have a little power, 30 amp to 30 amp down to the regular 15 amp household type plug that's on the Honda. And that will drive these three, and it has actually headroom, so the Honda doesn't have to run full bore all the time. And that puts 90 amps of charging into our lithium bank there. The white box is input for solar, comes into there. And then right here we have our Victron Lynx distributors for power generation. So solar comes in here, and this is all the outputs. So to the inverters, anything that needs 12 volt power goes into there. And then we also have on the other side of the wall here, there is oh, it's kind of hard to see, but let me flip me around. How about that? Yeah, move the wall. We have one of our two Orion XS DC chargers. There's one per engine, and they have fans, Noctua fans on top of them to help just with a little bit of cooling with a thermostat. And I just ran the thermostat behind the body of it so it can pick up the temperature. When it gets over 29 Celsius, the fans kick on. And I have noticed quite a bit of difference there. So that is what we have done there. Go ahead and hit. Now this is the panel I was talking about. This is our primary panel. So this right here is L1. These are 12 volt. And then we have a small panel, which is L2. The L1 has one open slot right now, which is being reserved for a water maker in the future, most likely, or something else. I don't know, like a washing machine, maybe. Maybe a washing machine. You got your galley, just general outlets up in the salon area, aft cabin outlets that covers both sides, and fort cabin, and then the cockpit, which is exterior outlets. And then on the small panel, we have a battery charger that's hooked up to the starter batteries. There's two of them from Victron, more galley outlets, and our Webasto 110 for the salon area are in here. And then 12 is 12 volt stuff. Yeah. And then right here, next to it, another little project we did, which is from Cielo. It is a remote control that works with any air conditioner that uses a remote control. So it learns the remote. You program it like with pointing the remote at it. And what it does is it allows me to control our Webasto air conditioner, which is right here, from anywhere in the world. As long as the boat's connected to the internet, which it always is with Starlink, I can control this. So driving home, for example, one day, we were gone for 3 days. It was kind of chilly, but we had turned the temps down in the boat to like 50 degrees. I cranked it up to 75. We got back here an hour later and the boat was perfectly comfortable, and we were able to turn temperatures back down. So we have that stuff there. We have a 27-inch Dell monitor. Right now you can see it's running windy.com. I leave that up most days with radar running so we can see if rain is coming our way. We also can use it to program our NEMA 2000 network. It's connected to the NEMA network. I also use it through this little card reader that's right here to copy to my SD card for my chart plotter. I keep all of my charts loaded on a second hard drive in it, which is actually a SD. You have your Servo GX screen, two BMV 712s, one of which they're one for each engine, and then a Fusion stereo control, and of course the Ray 91 radio, which is what we use. There's a handset here and then one at the helm also. And if I come around to the side of this area, the lights are on timers, or dimmers I mean, so you can dim the lights. So if I go, which one is this? You can see you can dim the lights, so at night it's a little nicer. And then behind there is a Dell mini PC that's hooked to the monitor, keyboard, mouse. And that one is, I use it for like just general computing work if I need to on the boat. Like I said, NEMA 2000 programming if I need to. It's got Windy on it. I run OpenCPN on it, which we do open up when we're traveling, which is nice to have a backup chart plotter. And right behind it is the Starlink router. And above that is our Predict Wind Data Hub, which gives us over the horizon AIS along with our normal AIS from M-Track. So they pair together quite nicely. We use Apple HomePods on the boat. They may stay, they may not stay with the boat, but they're all over the boat. And what they allow me to do is use the Hey Siri command, and don't want it to do anything, to turn on our, not these lights here, but all of our cabins have lights in them that are Siri controllable. We also have the hot water heater can be turned on and off with it. Because it has a 120 volt contractor on it. We use Apple TVs, and this TV is staying. I had said it wasn't in the initial ad. It is an LG 42 inch, 42 or 48, can't remember, sorry, OLED C3, I believe, but it's a beautiful picture, mounted on a post there. And it can be swiveled, which is great because you can come around here and you could open the main door here, and this window, sit outside, you can see the TV, you can hear the TV great, and you could watch TV sitting outside. So that is this area. Okay, we're back again, and this is our second air conditioner we added. This is one of those things that I will just look at it today, shake my head and go, why didn't I do that 5 years ago? Made a huge quality of life difference for us. It's a Webasto 240 volt, 12,000 BTU, and it is connected to both our cabin and the guest cabin in the aft. So they stay outside, but both sides you can shut the vents, minimize the vents, so you can control your airflow a little bit. And this was the propane locker at one time, and there's room for a little storage left back in here. You can set a few things around the air conditioner, but it was easily plumbable and power was easy to get to. So wish we had done it before, did it now, huge difference on the boat. So I've given you a little bit of a glimpse of what we've been doing over the last year on the boat, plus with Marilee's cancer treatments and everything, and that's all good. But we are, the boat is still listed for sale with Yazoo, so you can contact Bob about that. I will have his contact information down below in the description of the video, just in case you didn't get to me in this video through Bob's ad. So over the last year, I've got a little list of things that I have done. And the list includes, we added the 12,000 BTU Webasto air conditioner, which I showed you. But we also added soft starts to both air conditioners, which is remarkable because that keeps, like for example, the 12,000 only uses 6 amps on startup per L. So it's using 12 overall, but it's using 6 per L, which is great. It's a lot smaller wire. I added a soft start to the 10,000 BTU, which is wonderful. We added new raw water strainers using the Graco bronze strainers, which are bigger. They're easier to clean. These are just little quality of life things. For example, outside that where the air conditioner is mounted, I replaced the hatches, the latches, for the hatches. Latches for hatches. Got them replaced. Now you push a button, you open the door instead of having to get a screwdriver and pry at it, which I did for 4 years because you live with things sometimes. Temporary becomes permanent and so forth. But we also added fresh water flushes to both air conditioners so that about once a month, I like to just crack open fresh water when we're on the dock here, run fresh water through it for about 5-10 minutes, and that kind of cleans out all the mud, high pressure. We've load balanced our Victron systems, that auto transformer I showed you. That is wonderful for that. What that does, L1, L2 come into it, L1, L2 come out, but if L1, let's say, is using 1,000 watts, and L2 is only using 400 watts, it'll actually increase L2 and decrease L1 so that they're the same. So instead of using 1,400 watts, you're using 700 watts per leg. And so they actually operate, instead of being like 2-3,000s, they actually kind of operate as 1 6,000 VA, which is about 4,800 watts. They can pass through 50 amp on per leg also, which is great when we're on the dock. We have multiple power cords. I bought a second 50 amp. So we have two 50 amp, 50-foot power cords. Plus I have multiple 30-foot, 50-foot power cords, just in case. You never know what you're going to need. Plus just about every adapter you can imagine. We went through and painted the ceilings in both heads. Is done. Marilee and I have done that. Previous owner had taken the vinyl out. It probably had mildew or mold behind it. So they ripped it all out and they just left the bare ceiling. So now they're painted white, which makes them very bright, very usable. Like we have had the 1,000-hour service done on both Yanmars by Remlick Marina here, which looked great. They were so good that the impellers and the belts are serviceable spares. They're sitting down below. They actually looked new after 1,000 hours, but that 1,000 hours was done in 3 years with 3 trips to the Bahamas on them. So out of 4 trips to the Bahamas, 3 were done on these engines. 1 year was done as a sailboat, but still with the new engines in it. And then now 2 seasons as a pure power boat. And they just run flawless, which is wonderful. I'm touching wood, of course, on that, but we rebuilt both of our whale gusher pumps. One is in use, one is not in use currently, and that is because that's what's used to run the dump tank to dump black water out when we're in offshore, for example. It just uses a very simple gravity with a whale pump. Easy peasy, nothing mechanical to break, but the rubber was getting older because it was 21 years old, so I rebuilt both pumps. We've plumbed the boat for a water maker. We have not put one in. We may put one in like in September if we thought we weren't selling the boat, we're going to the Bahamas. Otherwise, if somebody does buy the boat, wants to put in a water maker from Seawater Pro, which is my recommendation, it is pre-plumbed and ready to go in. So that is done. We added the soft starts like I mentioned. We added the Cielo Breeze Maxes to each air conditioner for remote control. We just went through all of our electrical. When we bought the boat, it was very basic. We've added and swapped out almost everything on it so far, including almost all the wire has been replaced. Very small amount has not been replaced, and we only use Anchor or Pacer wire, because the fact it's tinned copper and it's the flexible, it's marine grade, so that's all we use. Same way it goes with our connectors, all of that stuff, because I do most of the work. I am an IT professional who works in data center electrical, so I'm used to working with electrical all day. So did that. We replaced both the blowers for the engines. Like I said, we bought a second shore power because we were a little further away from power for a while here during the winter, so we needed a little longer. So I just bought a second power cord, which will go with the boat. We insulated the air conditioners that we put that air conditioner, the locker has been insulated. We upgraded our fresh water system. Oh, that's a biggie right there in its own right. We added a new filter system for it, which just picked it up at Home Depot, but it's sediment and then carbon, and then we have an ultraviolet UV, I believe it's called, but it's what the Sailing Channel the Winds use. That's where I saw it first. So I got the idea from them, and that's why we have 2 faucets at the sink. So our drinking water goes through carbon from the faucet, sediment, carbon, UV before it ever gets into our bodies. We tested it's about the same as a water maker would be for good water, and the water coming out just the normal faucet is better than most households. So we have that going on. We have plenty of filters for it all. We upgraded the power for the UV filter, so it's now running on its own separate breaker. Let's see. Merely painted, I said, the head ceilings, but also with our Raritan freshwater, we replaced all the hoses. Yummy. They're all done. They're all brand new. So we removed the tank, took it out, replaced all of the 1.5-inch hose with good sanitation hose from Herds in We also, and it's a freshwater Raritan, so it's there's no smells. We don't want that. I don't want those kinds of stories on the boat. So we replaced that. The boat does have the Nature's Head on the starboard side. That could be replaced with a Raritan. We do not have a holding tank for it, and it needs a wall. But we just found that we have more space in there for storage of bathroom type stuff. Shelves could be put in where the tank used to be. Or if you really needed two heads, go ahead and put that back in. It does not have a through hole for emptying it overboard right now, but that could also be put back in at a haul out in the future. But these are just some of the little things we've been doing on the boat. We've been projecting, getting things done on it, which helps me fill my time during the day while I'm also being the caregiver for Marilee, which like I said, all is good. She's in great shape. Again, contact Bob if you have any questions. He'll reach out to me. We're always glad to answer any questions about the boat, not just the boat, but how we travel with the boat, because we have done the trip now with this boat, like I said, 4 times all the way to the southern Bahamas and back. It's a wonderful Bahamas boat. It's also a great loop boat. So we were planning on doing the Great Loop, hence part of our reasons for keeping the mast off of the boat. We made it into a solar power generation system, basically. We're a mobile power plant. We make what we need. We rarely even take power when we pull into marinas anymore because they charge for power, so we've got enough. So we're good to go there. So yeah, like I said, any questions, let us know. Thanks, and y'all have a great day. Bye.